kid, there was a place. A dark place. They closed it down and let it rot. But the things that lived there...
Hello, Danny.
They come back.
Not many ride the bus this far north. You're running away from something?
I'm running away from myself, I guess.
Hi. You can hear me. You're magic. Like me.
I don't know about magic. I always called it the Shining. The world is a hungry place. A dangerous place.
These people, they hurt people like us.
These are the devils. They'll eat what shines. And they've noticed that little girl.
Wow, hi there.
Get out of my head! Get out!
I haven't felt power like that in so long.
They're coming. Where are we going?
There's a place. You sure you want to do this?
I'm ready.
Yes, you run, dear. And then I will find you. And you will scream for years.
Come and play with us forever and ever.
Welcome, everybody, to the Cast from the Coast. My name is Adam Miles, and I'm being joined, as always, by Tim Johnson and Josh Lambert. How you doing, gentlemen?
Good.
Excellent.
Right on, guys. So, exciting episode.
Yeah, we're reviewing a movie that's not complete total dog shit, so it's going to be a good night.
Yeah.
Well, let's give it some credit. Not just about the fact that it's not dog shit. It's a new movie. We do a lot of classic movies a lot of the time, and every now and then we get a chance to have all seen a newer movie in theaters, and this is one of those times. I'm
just glad that we have that on that horrible mess of All Hallows Eve like behind us. So I don't know if you guys looked at the views, but no one gives a fuck.
Yeah, pretty much.
No one gives a fuck.
It's the dark times.
Yeah, the dark times.
It's a real shame.
So what are we talking about, guys?
Tonight, we are talking about Dr. Sleep.
Yay!
Yes. This was such an anticipated movie for all of us. So,
I was pretty excited about it 2 weeks ago when I found out it existed.
What? Oh, man, this just went off the rails, didn't it, gentlemen? Okay, fine. All right. Who wants to give the synopsis? Tim, go for it.
Okay. Well, years following the events of The Shining, a now adult Dan Torrance must protect a young girl with similar powers from an evil cult known as the True Knot, led by Rose the Hat, who prey on children with powers and eat their essence, their shine, to remain immortal.
Yep.
That's
what happened.
That's what happened.
That essentially is the movie, so yes. All right. Let's start off with story. Who wants to talk first? The story itself and how you feel, and let's kind of get the discussion rolling here. Josh, roll it.
Yeah, so it was a great continuation from the Cube work. It obviously took a lot of inspiration from that. We were talking a little earlier before we started the show, but it picks up, 20, 30 years after that. Danny's all grown up. He's kind of got his life in the shithole. It actually reminded me a lot of Haunting on Hill House, and I know it's the same same fellow that did it, and that kind of makes sense. Just kind of the reality of dealing with the paranormal and what it kind of does to your psyche. So we saw a lot of the characters in that show became alcoholics, drug addicts, whatever. And we kind of see Danny Torrance going down that same route.
Yeah. No, agreed. I mean, the really interesting thing about this, though, is that when you really break it down, it doesn't start right off the bat 20, 30 years later. It was actually really kind of cool the way that they did it. It kind of took me back for a moment. I was like, what am I watching here first? And it jumps to like basically right after the events when they get away and they're kind of starting a new life. And they got like a new child actor, obviously, for Danny, and they got a new female actor for Wendy. And I think that they cast them really well. And we'll talk about characters here in a couple of minutes, but I thought it was really kind of cool that the first thing he did was say, here's what happened when they got away and they had to start a whole new life. And then it jumped back and forth between Danny and then telling the history and stuff. But right off the bat, it was kind of like dealing with the fallout initially, you know, with her being overprotective and him now dealing with his more superimposed abilities. You know what I mean? Because the Overlook really kind of brought it out even more. You know, so it was kind of interesting. I like that. It really was, for all intents and purposes, when you go into this movie, I didn't know exactly what to expect, except for from the trailers, it showed that it was going to be it was going to bank on the fact that people would know the Kubrick Shining movie versus, say, the Stephen King Mick Garris miniseries version.
Why are you talking? No.
What?
No. If anything, this movie is like, forget about the Mick Garris garbage thing that was horrible. It's if anything, it's a fucking tribute to both the Kubrick and the original book.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's what he just said.
That's exactly what I'm just saying.
All I heard was the Mick Garris thing, and I'm like, what?
No. Okay.
Saying it follows Kubrick a lot more than that.
It's a love story to Kubrick's vision.
Yeah.
And it basically says, here's what Kubrick did, but we're going to go and we're going to kind of implement some of what the book talked about. And then obviously it's a little bit faithful to Dr. Sleep, the book, you know, more so than say what Kubrick's Shining was to Stephen King's The Shining book. So, you know, like I said, it kind of makes you forget about, you know, Mick Garris's, and it's not a shit on Mick Garris by any means. I think that Stephen King himself as well played a big part in shitting the bed on that miniseries.
You watch what you say about Mr. King.
Fine and dandy. But
fucking cut ya.
But I love it. I love the fact that they ran with it. It didn't try to be its own thing. It didn't try to say that the Kubrick Shining didn't exist. It literally banked on the fact that people would know Kubrick's The Shining and the visuals and the infamous, carpeting and the look of the Overlook and the elevators and everything else. And I thought that was intriguing that he did that. Right from the fact that they recreated some of the most incredible looking scenes from the movie.
Like the tricycle scene.
Right down to the audio of him on the carpet and then on the hard floor and then on the carpet and the hard floor. Like, just, I felt like I was watching like an extended Kubrick version or something that Kubrick had, if he was still alive, just had refilmed himself.
Well,
they did an excellent job in the reshoots for sure.
The thing that I mean, honestly, if we were going to sit down and do a movie based on a book, and there was already a pre-existing movie with so much art direction already established, like, yeah, I'm going to fucking copy the Kubrick movie even if I didn't like it. You know what I mean? Because all the work's been done visually. So, okay, we're going to cast this woman to be Wendy because she's really close, and we're going to cast this kid to be Danny, and so
yeah. Well, but I mean, that's the thing, right? Is that, let's face it, until we started seeing video footage, and we knew that Dr. Sleep was being made, but until we started seeing footage that actually showed.
Josh didn't, apparently.
Josh didn't, that's right. But until we saw footage that actually showed that that's what they were doing, it was a total surprise. Like, we were in the dark about it. And I think it was a lovely surprise what they did. But overall, the other thing that I found with the story was that they really did... I found that it's almost like Flanagan tried to make amends with the ending of the movie, Dr. Sleep.
He absolutely did. He said it. He absolutely did.
It was beautiful.
Well, I read an interesting interview basically saying how Mike Flanagan basically made Stephen King like Kubrick's The Shining now. Because in this created movie universe with these two movies now, the ending of Dr. Sleep the novel is not the same as Dr. Sleep the movie, but Dr. Sleep the movie takes cues from the original Shining novel ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because Kubrick didn't do that ending, it kind of fucked everything. You know what I mean? Like, it was a very cool balancing act that, like, he picked and chose. Like, yeah, it was really
Yeah,
cool.
for sure. It's like he took the original Kubrick and the two books and kind of blended them together and tried to get one storyline that was cohesive enough and ended it the way so that it tied up all the books and all the movies.
Yeah.
And in turn made, once again, King love it. And,
Yeah.
and have some more respect for it. Because, and I can see that because as a whole, taking Kubrick's The Shining and now Flanagan's Dr. Sleep, it tells a very cohesive, like you said, cohesive story.
Yeah.
That ends as Stephen King would have originally intended it to in all, seriousness on that. So that's great. It was perfect the way that he did it, in my opinion. And with everything that they wrote, I was enthralled entirely by the story. Like, it was one of those movies where I don't think there was a single time when I was looking at like any time in the movie when it was kind of like downtime. I was glued to the screen the whole time.
And it's weird because it's 10 minutes longer, I think, than the original Shining, and the story beats are almost identical. Like, something will happen and then, nothing will happen. But I agree with you, Adam. This movie, when nothing was happening, was still entertaining.
Very much. Yeah, even though you had Danny Torrance, who's a character from the original, and you had O'Halloran appearing as a ghost, and all kinds of little cues from the original, they were all different characters at this point because it's almost like they had transcended to different times. Danny was now an adult and he was an alcoholic, and Halloran was a ghost that was basically dealing with his fate, as it were.
The fucking casting of Halloran, man.
Right?
Oh my God. Okay, so me and Josh, we were at the same show, and our mutual friend Andrew was there, and the night before he watched the original.
Yep.
And like we both, I looked over at him, he's like
that can't
like
be him.
No, the casting was fun.
Yeah. It was amazing. And
Josh is
I don't even know where that came from. Just okay. I did the same thing. I had actually watched The Shining, and then went to see Dr. Sleep. Like, so it was so. I mean, I've seen The Shining multiple times, obviously many times, but I wanted it to be fresh in my head.
You totally froze. There was no audio. You went like this. You went, I watched The Shining. And me and Josh are going, okay. Good.
Well, it'll look fine on my end. All right, so let me do that again, and I'll cut that.
Okay.
So
it was funny.
So I watched The Shining before I went in to see Dr. Sleep, and it was I wanted it. I mean, I've seen The Shining many, many times, but I wanted it fresh in my head. It's like anything. Whenever a sequel to any of my favorite movies or any movie I love comes out, I go and I watch the original or the series of up to, and then I go and I see the sequel. It's just the way that I want to do it. But yeah. Characters. You bring up a
So
good point.
we talked about casting already. So Dick was fucking nailed. Like I've never seen casting that good when you're talking about reshoots and even reintroducing the character.
There was no. You knew exactly who he was. The voice was
skip a beat
dead
at all.
on.
Yeah.
It was so perfect. And I mean, there's that whole suspension of disbelief. Obviously, that's going to happen because a lot of these actors are really old. Some of them are dead. You can't recast them from a movie made in 1980.
Yeah.
To be in a 2019 sequel, but they handled it amazing. Oh my God!
Young Danny was good. He looked the part.
Yeah.
Wendy, at first I didn't really like Wendy just because that original actress had so much character, and just the way she looked is so you can't reproduce it. She's a very unique looking person, and that's what got her that role,
true.
right?
It's true.
But I thought
near the end, she did a good job doing what she could to replicate that character. I think.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Wendy's really cute.
Well, when they did the bathroom scene, and
Some
she was up against
reviews.
the wall,
Yeah.
that was the most identical and exact scene to the original with her recreated in it that I'd seen in the entire movie.
Yeah, yeah, and I was watching a review, and when they were talking about returning characters, the reviewer said that she felt that they overacted, right? And I'm like,
Has this person ever seen the original
movie? The original movie was overacted, and I felt that it was a perfect. You could watch The Shining and then immediately watch Doctor Sleep, and there's no. Yeah, I thought. Who was it that played? Let me see here.
She was really good.
Alex Esso.
That's who played Wendy?
No, she did a good job.
Played Wendy. Yeah, she did a fantastic job.
She did. And young Danny was good. I found that he shone really well when it was the scenes with him and the Dick Halloran character. Sitting on the bench, especially when they were talking, and he was kind of talking him down about the fact that things are going to be different now. And Danny, you got to realize what's going on now, and shit's never going to stop. And I thought it was very heartfelt, and I think that the kid did a very good job there.
Yeah.
But I mean, right down to the fucking creepy twins. They were creepy still.
Yeah.
We can't talk. You're jumping ahead. I know. You're giving spoilers.
The box. When that scene when they're on the bench kind of explaining the box, I really like that scene. That whole idea is kind of this already existed in the Stephen King universe, right? Like your memories and all that stuff. It's a physical plane of existence that you can travel to.
And the thing that I thought was fantastic with this movie that had over other movies was the visualization of that jumping to these other planes. And the fact that Danny's is the maze.
Yeah.
I thought was really cool, right? And later on in the movie, there's all these boxes.
Yeah, it was just a continual editing, and they were all lined up in there. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah.
So Obi-Wan was in this movie.
Sure was.
Obi-Wan was in, and he rocked it as he always does.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny because there was one part, I believe it was early in the movie when he had the beard and he was disheveled and he was sleeping with that chick he picked up in the fucking bar, and he looked over and I blurted out, "Hello there." And I heard people around me fucking laughing because at this point in the movie, he looks like Obi-Wan. He's had a rough night, but he looked like Obi-Wan. And it was because he just happened to look over at the chick and hello there. Yeah. But Ewan McGregor was fantastic.
No, he did a really good job again.
Fantastic.
Everything about casting this movie was just dead point on, with one exception that we'll talk about later. But
I also really liked Cliff Curtis, who was his friend Billy Freeman, the guy that job and stuff. I love that guy. I thought he was really good.
He's a good actor in almost anything he does. I don't have a hate for the guy at all, and this was a good role for him.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, the thing is, it's like, it's almost like he's typecast because he plays that role in like everything he's in. But who I want to talk about is Rebecca Ferguson as Rose the Hat.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
She was like, she's like my favorite like bad guy right now.
She was
I think
pretty
she's gonna get a
badass.
lot of she's gonna get a lot of fan favorite cosplay and stuff from her. I think.
Oh my God. And like, okay, so I don't know if it's because she's so evil that I thought she was hot, but she was really hot. Like,
This almost needs to be a segment, Thirsty Time with Tim.
thirsty
Just
time.
talk about-
time
We
with
talked
Tim.
about all the babes in the movies we
No,
watched.
but the thing that I really liked about her
Shit.
was that, like, she was a good antagonist.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
a good antagonist. That whole fucking the True Knot.
Caravan of
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah.
They all had like their weird little names.
Yeah.
Barry the Chunk, Grandpa Flick.
What's up with the guy that looked like a fucking sleazeball? Like you're immortal and you're wearing like a dirty old tee?
Who's gonna fuck with you?
Get some class, buddy.
Well, the only thing that I didn't like about that group was that I felt like the book probably would have spent a lot more time on those characters, and I wanted to know more about them in the movie. That's the only thing that I didn't like about that group in the movie was I didn't find out enough about them.
You don't say.
What?
You paused.
What was the only part you didn't like about that, Adam?
Did I break up or something?
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Okay. The only part that I didn't like about that group of characters was that I feel like the book would have spent more time on the characters, not even necessarily giving huge background on them, but maybe a paragraph explaining a little bit about their history or something like this each. And I felt that was missing from the movie because the only real time that you find out anything real about the history of those characters was Uncle Flick. But it's only from her soothing him.
Yeah, but you kind of got. I mean, with me, I agree. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why, reading a novel is usually better than a movie anyway.
Yeah.
But I felt that you got everything you needed to know by following Snakebite Andy and how she got into the group. You just assume that they all got in very similar ways, right? Like Rose
at the end of the
found
day,
them
that's what Wikipedia's for. If you want to know what all their backstories is, I'm sure there's a Wikipedia page for them that will explain it.
Oh,
Yeah.
more than likely. But I mean, I guess the thought behind that is that intrigue about the characters, like, because when she's soothing Uncle Flick, she's talking about the fact that he was a powerful man. He's seen the rise and fall of empires. He's feasted on kings and peasants alike. And I'm like, how fucking old is this guy? Like, I know that it
Real old.
elongates their life. It doesn't make them truly immortal. They just live longer.
Yeah.
But it's like, this guy feasted on, he's seen rise and fall of empires. He's feasted on kings. Who the fuck really is this guy? Like, there could be a whole backstory in there that would be absolutely worth reading if there was a chapter in the book on it. You know what I mean? Like, I was intrigued by it.
I think he's very much like a Lestat character, right? Like, kind of rose
kind
up
of
through...
kind of the vibe that I got. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like there's a history there, and maybe one day we'll find out more about it. Right? Yeah. No, but
So, the Ragtag team, they were all pretty on point as far as characters go, and the main antagonists there.
My favorite was Crow Daddy.
Yeah.
The fucking discount fucking Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
the discount Johnny Depp.
He
They,
even had like the beaded bracelets and shit. Like,
Yeah. My favorite out of those characters was Rose. She was incredibly done, and she was a powerful character, and she had a good presence on screen.
Yeah.
And everything that they did with her character, I know that she was like the main, antagonist, but everything that they did with that character was right.
Yeah.
She had all the right lines, she had all the right scenes, and she's lived this life forever. So when things really, like when shit really hit the fan, you felt her pissed off nature. You felt her coming around.
This isn't supposed to happen.
This is not supposed to be the way that it is. I'm supposed to be in control. And like I really got that from her, and she acted it really well. She did a really good job.
What? I don't know if you've read the book or if it explains or whatever, but what are these things? They're just like this entity, kind of like it, I guess.
No, they're
shiners. They shine.
Yeah, they started.
Yeah, but they're more than just shiners though, because they like consume the fucking souls of.
No, it's they claim from everything that it states in the movie is that anybody who shines has a natural essence, a misting.
Right.
The shine itself is something that's in you and comes out of you.
Right.
And it's almost like a Highlander-esque situation where if a shine is there when a shine dies, they can inherit that shine or more power from them, and it elongates their life and makes them more powerful.
Yeah. Okay.
Very much so a Highlander-esque situation in this case. But these people are trying to keep themselves alive, so what they do is they find the weakest of the shining.
They hunt the shines. And
they hunt the shines, and they either A, bring them into their group of people because they're of benefit,
right,
or B, murder them and steal the shine from them, and it elongates their life.
The only question I'd have for that is, but there's some sort of ritual that they do that makes them kind of something else, I think. Because the snake bite, the blonde-haired kind of Sabrina-looking girl, she was a shiner, and she had the shine, and she had the abilities, and then they performed some ritual, and she kind of became something else.
I think it was just the first time that she ingests the shine from somebody else.
Yeah,
it's almost like they probably make a ritual out of it.
They shine.
Yeah,
they shine, literally.
But like you don't see Danny going with his shiny eyes and his little finger going.
Well, no, he's also not ingesting the shine of others.
Exactly.
I think it's almost like a boost at that point, and
I mean,
it has some sort of an effect on you.
It was very much in vein of like vampires.
Yeah,
absolutely,
like energy vampires.
But I mean, the thing that, and I see where Josh is going with this. I mean, there was a line of dialogue when Andy first gets turned, and she said, "I felt like I died," and Rose said, "You did."
Did, yeah.
Right?
She asked, am I human? And she like, does it matter?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know.
I mean, so
I think they're like deadlights in them, man. I think they're like little tiny mini its, because when you look at like the things that they have control over, they can change what people see, they can read minds, they can do all these things. It's kind of like little aspects. Like if it is like the entity, the eater of worlds, maybe there's like little tiny versions of them. But
it's a good theory.
Just a theory.
That is a good theory.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, and like they were going on about, though, is that they each have unique type of abilities. They were talking about pushers, and they were talking about readers, and all kinds of different things. So, and I mean, that's why they brought Snakebite Andy on, because they haven't had a pusher in their group in a while, they said. So it was easy for her to come out and say, you're going to get in the car. And that person will get in the car because they pushed on them the idea of doing that. And then they abide to it. So it was interesting, but I think that the ritual thing was more of it's like a support type of situation where the first time that you ingest, they know that something happens, so it's almost like they kind of make a mini party out of it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's almost like a rebirth when somebody does this.
Yeah, but they kind of did the same thing when they would just eat too.
Yeah, because it was almost like a feast at that point too, right?
Yeah.
So. But I thought that was pretty brutal when they're murdering kids, and you see them like swarm.
I got so fucking uncomfortable. With
the baseball kid?
Yeah, and I normally don't, it's a movie, right?
Right.
But that fucking kid acted the hell out of that fucking scene, and like, yeah, I don't know, it bothered me.
They literally
he's like
murdered
pleading
a
for his life.
fucking
He's like,
kid.
"Are you gonna hurt me?" And she's just like, "Yes, yes, actually, we are."
Yeah, and they just outright slit him open, and
because again, that they taste better when they're scared.
But
just like Benny.
And then pour salt on the fucking wounds. He's pretty much dead, and then everybody else is gone, and she's sitting there like squeezing him for more.
squeezing the last little bit out.
It's like, what the fuck?
Like a tube of toothpaste.
Yeah, like a tube of toothpaste. She was squeezing out every bit of fucking shine or essence that she possibly could out of him. It was it was probably the most uncomfortable scene I've seen in a movie in a while. It kind of harkened back to like Halloween 2018, where people were like, Michael Myers killed that kid in that movie. He snapped his neck.
I didn't care when that kid died.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of people didn't, but there were a bunch of people who were upset over the fact that a kid died in the
He had a gun. He was a threat. That's why he died.
This kid had a baseball glove, man. He was a threat.
Nah, he was an
Completely
innocent.
different movie. Hey, did Michael Myers kill the baby? He could have, but he
Shoulda.
didn't. But he didn't.
But he
Shoulda.
didn't. He's a good guy.
It's dark, Josh.
I'm just saying.
Wow. Okay. Keep on with the casting. There was a couple of other characters. Josh, you wanted to mention one of them.
Well, before that, you have the main character, this little girl who shines, and she's like the
Abra.
top
Abra.
shiner.
She was
Abra.
adorable.
Yep.
She was.
I thought she was
so She kind of
fantastic.
replaces Danny as like that main child that's just kind of discovering her powers, and then her parents as well that are kind of in denial, I think, to a degree when they see her kind of do some supernatural stuff.
Very much so. I found it was almost like, in the original Shining with Danny, Wendy she didn't know how to take it. She just thought it was the imaginary friend, so she was just kind of with it. And whenever he had these spells, it was a medical situation, and she didn't quite understand what was being said and going on. But with Abra and her parents, they seen, and it freaked them the fuck out.
Yeah.
And they made her push it down. Like, kind of hide yourself. But I thought it was adorable when we first meet her, and she's trying to, like, with the magician with the spoons. Oh, I can do that. And he's like, oh, that's nice, kid. And he's like doing he's like failing at the magic tricks. And then they walk in the house, and she's got like spoons all over the ceiling, just levitating and shit. And she's like, magic. She like says something right loud like that, and the parents are freaking the fuck out. But I liked how they didn't just kind of bring her in, and then she was just this young character. I like how they kind of built her up over a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like we didn't just get introduced to her like Danny Torrance. It was all in the span of, months with Danny Torrance. And it was like he was the same age really the whole time when he came down.
So we have like a 5-10 year age time gap that kind of skips forward.
And not only that, she starts communicating with him at a young age. And when she finally meets with him, she's been communicating with him for 8 years, because when he does the AA thing and it jumps in time, it says 8 years later.
Yeah, so
and
you see her at 5 years old and then at 14, 15 years old, whatever.
Yeah. And she was still adorable as shit as a 14-year-old kid with this sassiness to her and this absolute power. And she was Miss Independent at this point. She was like, I'll do whatever the shit I want. I mean, she hops on a fucking bus and tracks him down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought that was just absolutely a great way to do that with the character. Like, she was determined to deal with things in her own way. And I thought it was really well done that way. And hats off to the young girl who played her and the younger girl who played her as well. They both...
Like I said, we just keep going back to it. The casting on this film was so on point. Whoever the casting director of this should get so much fucking work.
Yeah. Yeah. True. There is one character that I don't think was cast extremely well, though. And I think, Josh, you might agree with me, because I think
it's the same one.
I think it's the same one. And I don't know how Tim feels.
If it's fucking what I think it's going to be, I'm going to be pissed and I'm going to log off.
It definitely is.
You're going to be fucking pissed.
This is me clicking my mouse.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the same one. You're wrong, Tim.
Go ahead.
So they return to the Overlook Hotel at the very end, and we get to see all the ghosts that are captured by Danny in his little ghost box in his mind. And there's one ghost that he didn't take from the Overlook, and that's Jack. So Jack's sitting at the bar, and we just see
Jack. That wasn't Jack.
It's not Jack Torrance?
It's supposed to look like Jack Torrance, but it's not Jack Torrance. Just like the bartender in the original Shining wasn't the
waiter wasn't the father.
It's the same thing. It's the Outlook took the fucking. Anyways, it's not Jack, but it's Jack.
No, I think they meant it to be Jack, 100%.
No, because it's the same thing they did in the first one. I'm sorry, sir. You got me mistaked. Blah, blah, blah.
Well, but I think that that's just the way that the hotel plays with you. I think that that's just the way that is. But I wasn't 100% sold on him. I think that was the weakest part of the casting in that movie. He wasn't stupidly terrible. It wasn't like it was like, that's entirely wrong. But with all the incredible casting that I had already seen in the movie, it felt out of place in comparison to
No.
this one. It felt
Henry Thomas
compared.
fucking killed it.
Frig, man, I seen a video of David Harbers as Jack Torrance, and I liked it better than this character. Did you guys see that? His Halloween costume is Jack Torrance.
I
No,
saw the
Henry
Jim Carrey
Thomas was
deep
great.
fake, and that was better.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm not gonna piss on it anymore. I just
Don't
think
beat
that,
it to death, but
I'm not
at the
gonna
end
beat
of
it
the
to
day,
death.
I don't think he did it justice.
I thought it was great.
There you go. All right. Other than that, man, the friggin' all the other ghosts.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
So just for the record, he is listed as Jack Torrance on IMDb.
Yeah,
That is
no,
that is the character's name.
Yeah.
the bartender is what I'm
Right.
looking at right now. The bartender as Henry Thomas. And then
Right.
if you go down even further, Jack Torrance.
Right.
Yes. But
Okay.
it starts off that he's not Jack. It's
Well,
the fucking...
You see him in more opportunities than just that anyway, and it's
Right.
overall,
Anyways, that's the introduction.
But that's fine. We've done beating that one to death.
Robert Englund here, a.k.a. Freddy Krueger. I'm watching and listening. They cast from the coast. You better or else.
All the other ghosts, like the woman in the tub.
No,
Yeah,
didn't
they've
think
all
it was good.
returned.
No, didn't think it was good.
Now Tim's just being pissy.
I've seen enough naked old ladies in horror movies in 2000.
Do you know what, though? I felt that they... And this is my honest... This isn't me just because you guys are wrong.
Yeah.
I felt they kept showing her too much.
Yeah. Well, she was like
I
the
can-
main ghost that kind of terrified Danny though as a kid.
I agree that maybe she was a little too much in comparison to everything else, but I did like the fact that the two things that I did like about her were the one where they showed how Danny had initially dealt with her.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, it was an exact situation with how she felt to deal with it.
Yeah.
When she had appeared to her. And I thought that it was really kind of nice because it kind of shows that she's following a really good path at this point, and she's got it under control now. I thought that was well done, but everything else, I thought, yeah, it might have been a little bit like she was not the best ghoul creature,
No.
ghost in the
It
story.
looked... Well, I mean, you knew exactly who it was supposed to be.
100%, right?
Just like you knew that it was supposed to be Jack Torrance.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And...
It was value
and
brand.
He was playing the character. He wasn't doing an impression of Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
He was playing the character.
Yep.
Yeah.
From the books and the movie, but it's a blend.
Sure.
And you guys are fucking wrong.
No.
Yeah, you are.
No.
Everybody has
It
an
doesn't.
opinion.
Here's why it doesn't make sense. Because Dick is a fucking
What you call me?
carbon copy. Wendy is a carbon copy, and Danny is a carbon copy. But with this character, they didn't want to do impressions. Is that
No.
what you're suggesting?
No, what they said was they could have very easily did deep fakes. Right?
Yeah, they should have.
No.
They should have busted open their wallet and got Jack Nicholson and done some CG effects like Disney. That's what they should have done.
Yeah, I agree. And apparently there was one point where they did do it, and Mike Flanagan, who's, touting himself as a old school director, doesn't want to use the CG as a crutch or whatever, and fucking Because it's saying here on IMDb that it was 2 people that played that part.
It was probably the bartender version, and then the other scenes with him running around in the hotel and chopping down the door.
I guess.
Different characters.
Okay.
Yeah. When he was running down the hall with the axe,
That was
a
cool.
new Jack Torrance.
That was
Yeah,
good.
that's
Yeah.
Henry Thomas. That's who I'm talking about.
Right.
Thomas Downing is who they're saying played him in the
bar
Gold
scene.
Room. Yeah.
Okay, then let's be clear about that. I did not like the one in the Gold Room.
Correct.
I liked it. I thought it was cool how it was just shown with a profile the whole time, and then all of a sudden he switches into Jack and talking about taking your medicine and shit, and like and it shows him from the front and the fucking hair's down. I was like, that's dope. You guys are haters.
But I mean,
Again,
then-
it's that mystery. If they would have just kept it and not shown his face and just kind of had like the silhouette and the hair or whatever, I would have liked it more. I think.
I probably would have
guess.
appreciated that more. Less is more with that then.
Go-
But then that
go-
comes to
go
question,
fuck yourselves.
what the hell's wrong with the one that played Jack in the scenes running around with the axe versus the one in the Gold Room? Was
Dunno.
it that one of them could act more like Jack Torrance and the other one couldn't, but yet one looked more like Jack Torrance, so he could get away with it?
Henry Thomas, fucking Elliot from E.T.,
Yeah.
the dad from Haunting a Hill House. He's the guy who played Jack Torrance,
Yes.
right? He's a gifted fucking actor, and you guys are shitting on him, calling him Walmart brand Jack Torrance.
Yeah. Well.
Calls it like I
Fuck
sees
you.
it.
Fuck you. But anyways, I got that out of my system. I'm good.
All right.
Good.
All right, you're
But okay, so are we still talking? What are we talking about now?
What do you got?
Characters,
What do you got?
actors, what do you got?
Okay, so the climax of the movie, okay?
Yeah.
I love how they recreated Rose going up the steps the same way Jack did. I thought that was fucking amazing. I love that Danny the whole time is wearing the opposite colors of what Jack did in the original movie. Same jacket, same plaid, but they're opposite colors. Then how, like, after the fight, his leg gets fucked up, and then when he becomes Jack, and he's running around with the axe, lost my shit over that. But the best was the final showdown between Danny and Rose. And I love how she's like, fuck, you've been hiding? Like, dude, you're fucking potent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can't remember, I'm paraphrasing, but I can't remember the exact name, the exact phrase. But he said something along the lines of, like, do you know where you are? This place is filled with monsters worse than you, and they're all starving. And then it cuts to his brain, and it just goes through the maze, and all the fucking things open up. She turns around, and the whole gang is there. And if I remember correctly, all their eyes are white.
Yeah.
And
Well,
this
it's because
fucking-
she was like eating his shine, and she could see in his brain. She could see the boxes. She's like, "What's in the boxes? What's all this stuff you got in here?" Thinking that it was something she could eat, I guess.
Secrets or something. Yeah,
secret,
something that she could feed off of.
Yeah.
So
She started cracking them open. That was
loved it. And then I loved how they all, once Rose is gone, they looked at him and
they just
well,
went
you're
after
here,
him.
We're gonna eat you too.
Like priorities.
Because like when Danny was when he first gets to the hotel and he starts walking around, and and like everything, like it's framed and shot almost identical, right?
Yeah. If Kubrick wasn't dead, I'd think he did it.
Yeah. So the one scene where Danny comes and he's going around the hallway, and you're like, oh, it's gonna show the twins. It's gonna show. Oh, I was pissed. I was like, where the fuck are the twins? And then later, Abra does the same thing, and the twins are there, and I was like, okay. Yeah.
Well, because like I said, Dick says that they've been like kind of haunting him all these years, and he's just been slowly boxing them up as they come to see him.
Yeah. The one thing that I was wondering, and he wasn't in it, was the guy in the dog suit.
Yeah.
Where's the guy in
the
the dog
bear
suit?
dog suit thing?
Yeah.
The infamous blowjob scene, as people would call it, or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, no, you got a point. I don't remember seeing him. He wasn't there. Okay, that's
missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity. Just have him in the background staring at everybody else feeding.
Yeah.
Just randomly. They couldn't find the suit anymore. All right. Visuals and effects. So one of the first things I'm just going to state right off the bat is, Tim, you brought up one of the most impressive points about this whole thing, and me and Josh said the same thing before you got on the phone. This movie was shot as if they had literally resurrected Kubrick to film everything that had to do with the Overlook and the completion of the story. Because it goes from a very Flanagan-feeling visual movie, which is fine. I like Flanagan's style. I love, The Haunting of Hill House and everything else that he did. But then it's almost like he literally... There was a cut moment when all of a sudden it became a Kubrick film.
Yeah.
Well, one of the cool things is when Danny and Abra are first driving up to the Overlook, and they recreated that shot.
Yes.
That is the real shot that they altered.
They didn't recreate it, I guess. They actually took that original
same
footage.
fucking shot, but they just made it at night. They made it snowy, and I was like, damn. But I feel that it became a Stanley Kubrick movie when he got to the hotel. Now, there was a lot of stuff early on, like they were doing the transition wipes, very similar to what happened. There was a lot of cues that Kubrick would have did, like overhead shots and all this kind of stuff. But you're right, Adam. It was a very Mike Flanagan movie. Right down to, him reusing a lot of the same actors, which I find odd because his wife, who's also really hot, was not in this. And she's literally, like, in everything that he does.
Yeah. It is kind of weird that she wasn't in it. I kind of thought about that afterwards, too, but...
Like, why she didn't play, Abra's mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, something simple. Even if it was just a simple role, or one of the True Knots or something like that. Question, if anybody picked up on this. The gas station that Danny is gassing up at, and he looks up and he goes, we're almost there. We got to go up.
Yeah.
Is that the gas station from the original movie?
I think so.
Because it looked, and I didn't go back and look for a screenshot or anything, but to me that looks like the station where Dick would have gotten the snowcat from.
Yeah,
he called the guy.
I think it might have been, it might be.
I'd say it's probably a recreation, like I said, but yeah.
Recreation, but it would have been like, bringing it out that it's the gas station. He stopped that.
I love the completely out of context set of the fucking the guy in charge of the AA. How it was a recreation of The Office that Jack got his job in.
Yes.
Like it was identical, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense, but it does. Like,
well, it was like an interview situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was almost like when his father was interviewing for the position of looking after the Overlook, here he was interviewing to, for a new job.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was right down to the way that the window was, and it was in the lengthwise, and the desk with all the trinkets. Even Jacob, who was watching the movie, was like, I swear that's the guy's office from The Shining, like the original Shining from the Overlook. And I'm like, I know. That looks great.
Stop fucking talking during movies. What I would have said.
Well,
Shut your fucking mouth.
Shut up. So one thing before we continue about the effects work and stuff like this, one thing that I will mention, because I haven't read the book, I thought it was actually kind of endearing how Dr. Sleep came to be. I don't know how you guys felt about that, but like the whole story with him being an orderly and knowing about people passing and the whole cat thing and everything else. And the guy gives him the nickname Dr. Sleep because...
And I feel that was a bigger plot point in the book. Because I never actually read the book either. I own it, but I didn't read it yet. And I feel that would have been a bigger plot point. And, I mean, who knows? We might get a director's cut that has... that, but yeah, I thought that was kind of adorable. Like,
it was sweet. It was endearing.
And that
it was
cat.
The fucking cat. I love it. He's yelling at the cat. You got your
for good, right?
Yeah, yelling at the cat. You got your wires crossed there, buddy. There's nobody there, and he walks in and Dick's there. It's like, wah! But I thought it was kind of cool because you could see like the box appearing. Because he's seen a ghost and the box is appearing. It was gonna capture, and all of a sudden he stops it because it's like, no, that's Dick. This is fine. But yeah, so when it comes to the effects and the visuals and everything else in the movie too, I didn't feel like there was too much that was overdone by any means. It didn't feel like it was really grasping and crutched on CGI like you were, pointing out that he didn't want to. But what I did love, the most impressive visuals and effects work I found for the movie, my favorite scenes, almost entirely just for the atmosphere, was when Danny was walking around the damn overlook and the place was literally coming to fucking life around him. He'd walk down the hallways and the lights would start to glow. And
is that really effects work, or someone just turning on the light?
Well, it's all in how it's produced, right?
The majesty of this fucking recreation of these scenes. And Adam's like, my favorite thing is when they turn the lights on.
Well, no, it's
they
when the place
like
came to
magic.
life.
Yeah, no, it was cool, and I like when Abra shows up and like it's full power. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Because as strong as Danny is, Abra's even stronger.
My favorite, I said it earlier, my favorite thing was all the stuff that they were able to do with like the mental battles. And when Rose first sets out looking for Abra, that whole scene, how it was framed and she was like, she was above the clouds and like, but she wasn't flying. Like it was like she wasn't moving. The world was moving around her.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, that was like some like that looked better than like any Superman movie. Like if they would have did like like it was just, I don't know what it was. It was just, I don't know. It was awesome. It was awesome. And then the battle where they were in the mine and the filing cabinet closes and her hand. Like I loved all of that. She
set a trap for her and shit. Like really showed that Abra was smart about it. But I really liked as well talking about the mine battles and the effects work for that. I just even loved the simple one when Rose was in the grocery store.
Yeah, and the hand.
And she's like, "Hey there, beautiful," and she puts the hand, and then just the push happens. And Rose is like enamored by the situation. She's like, "What the fuck was that?" Like she's in love with it.
Yeah, because no one's ever been able to hurt her.
Yeah. She was the alpha.
Yeah. And she's feeling things that she's never felt before.
And she's enthralled by it. You know what I mean? Like there's a hunt now. This is a game.
Look at Adam's face right now. He's so into it. she felt things.
She felt things.
Yeah.
Yep, it was good.
It's good.
Getting right down to it, brass tacks on it. And we had said this before, so we'll kind of bring into the spoilers. I thought that the ending of this movie and how the closeout of Danny Torrance and the Overlook Hotel occurred was fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
It bringing to a conclusion Dr. Sleep in a manner that the original Shining book was brought to conclusion was, in my opinion, almost pitch perfect. It was beautiful in every aspect, the way that it happened. And it really did leave a lot of questions. Now, I'm just going to put this out there. What's your guys' opinion? There are people fighting on the internet right now saying he's dead and he's alive. I think he's dead.
No, he's dead.
He's dead.
Dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
It's like I heard the same thing about because so I heard the same thing with going on about Dick Halloran. Is in the movie he got an axe to the chest, but in the book he didn't. No. He didn't die in the book, right? So the way that it was shot, it could be either way that you want. Even though he disappeared, like Dick's dead.
Yeah,
he's dead.
But like specifically the scene from the 80s when he's talking to Danny on the bench.
Well, no, it shows that he's dead because it shows back and he's gone.
Oh yeah, he's gone. Yeah, but you could have just pulled a Batman and fucking. He is dead, but they did it that way that it would balance.
People questioning it.
Yeah, but no, Danny's dead. Danny's absolutely dead. He's in her room, and then when they look around, he's gone. Like he's
totally dead.
Well, it's almost like, do they become like Force ghosts?
I think so.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Felt like Force ghosts, right?
But that being said, I have to question why Dick said that it was going to be his last visitation with him.
Because he said it takes too much energy for him to appear, and why the fuck do I want to keep coming back talking to you?
But once again,
wanna-
the question comes up. Where are they when... Is it like a heaven and hell type of thing, and they use this power to come back to Earth and talk to people and shit? Like, there's a whole situation here that could be... I don't know if I'd ever want them to actually delve into it, because I like the mystery of it, but I like the idea of the fact that even though they're ultimately an endless spirit now, you know what I mean? Or they could be considered like a force ghost, like you were saying, Tim, that kind of a situation. There's obviously an extent of it. Like, there's only so much that they could do. You know what I mean? So if they were to ever do another story when Abra, say, is in Danny's situation as an adult and something else happens, it could very well be the end of Danny Torrance by then too, if he, ghost talks to her all the time like, Dick did to him. Like there could be... Right now, you kind of think, well, he's living an eternal life. He's a spirit now, right? A ghost, walking around. But there is a point when these will halt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of intriguing.
Yeah, I don't... Is there, though? Because, I mean, the Ghost and the Overlook, they've been around a long time. Maybe there's...
But they were also trapped for a long time, too.
guess.
They weren't using their own powers to kind of make themselves appear. But, I mean, then again, we don't know a lot about this. Like, maybe evil... Because they're kind of evil spirits. They're hatred and evil.
Plus, there's energy in the Overlook, right? So,
that's keeping them, because they're bound and all that stuff. So, not really
Dick's
entirely, I guess, because
really
the woman in the
popular.
tub appears later on in other places. But
yeah.
yeah. Okay. All right.
Well, I've got some notes. Do you want me to go through the notes?
I was just about to ask. Josh, bring up your notes, buddy. Let's go through your notes.
Okay.
Are they point form like before?
Oh, they're point form.
They're perfect that way, Josh. Never
So, opening music makes me feel like Star Wars Crawl.
Yep.
When you just saw that,
yeah.
and you see the car going. Yeah, no, it was had that very much that nostalgia feel. Reshot's done excellently. In case we didn't bring that up yet.
Did we?
I think so.
The little girl, Violet. So the first victim of Hat Lady.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Rose the Hat.
Rose the Hat. She clearly did not watch Jurassic Park 2, because this is the exact scene where she scurries off and plays with the little dinosaurs and then gets
shit, dude. Okay.
Do you know what? I yes, but it reminded me more of fucking Georgie and Pennywise.
Yeah. Okay, that too. Nice bum. Where are you from? I wrote that down.
Nice bum. Where are you from?
Was that when I got up to go get popcorn?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
And then
Tim fishing for compliments.
Obi-Wan's taking money out of this girl's wallet. The fuck?
Oh, yeah, the
prostitute,
cokehead.
I guess. Yeah.
The cokehead. Well, because Dick's talking to him like, dude, you should put that money back. And he's like, she probably bought the coke with the money she stole from me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the baby cries, and he's like, oh, damn it. He's got to deal with the baby? It's like, what?
Danny's alcoholism reminds me of Haunted Hill House. Yeah. A mortal guy dresses like a neckbeard. What the fuck, bro?
What?
The guy that like takes the glove from the baseball kid.
Yeah.
He's such a fucking slob.
Butcher, whatever, fuck, or what
I don't know what his little gypsy name was, but he looked like such a fucking slob.
It was his gypsy name, as you call it, was Barry the Chunk.
The Chunk.
Chunk. Oh, he's a fucking chunk.
He's the
And
same
then-
guy.
He should have
was
done the
also
truffle
Haunted
shuffle.
Hill's House too.
He should have
Was
done
he?
the truffle shuffle.
Yeah, he was the
7
caretaker.
p.m. in a grocery store and everything's faced. Not plausible, bud.
And everything's what?
Faced up. Yeah. Unrealistic. Real standards. Come on, guys.
Yeah, but if you were the boss,
Well, I guess. Fuck.
maybe they got a Josh working at that fucking grocery store.
And they're not leaning, they're cleaning.
So they faked me out. I wrote down, oh fuck, I hope they're going to go back to the Overlook, open all the boxes, unless the ghosts fuck them up. And then I wrote,
Oh shit, they did.
Missed opportunity. They just shot them with rifles instead. Missed opportunity, guy. And then I wrote, kill yourself. And then...
when she says that? Or were you just
sad.
talking about... Or were you just talking about the movie?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, so what it sounds like what you're saying was you thought that the movie was really coming to an end and they had killed them off and they didn't go to the Overlook. It was just in flashbacks. But that wasn't the end. That was a catalyst to a darker ending, really, is what it was.
Big time. The Crow killed the father and kidnapped her. Fuck.
But I did like that situation where...
Did you write this the whole time, like we were watching the movie?
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
And then I wrote, they're going back, exclamation point. So that was when I got to the... Yeah, they're going to the Overlook.
Nice.
Walk in the hall, seen the flashbacks. Only ghost Danny didn't lock up was Jack. Oh shit, is that the laser glass from Oculus? Did you guys see that? On the hall, in one of the halls, there's the mirror from Oculus, another one of Flanagan's films.
Oh.
Never noticed that. I admit, I've never seen Oculus.
Oh. It's also in Gerald's Game, and a couple others, too.
That's probably in Haunting a Hill House, then, or something, too.
I don't know if it's there, but probably. Didn't care for the new Jack. Take a page out of Disney's book, CGI it, or bust out some money. Blood Hall's reshoot. And she just walks away. She's like, whatever.
I like that. She wasn't
like, all the fucking
fazed by
blood
it.
pouring down. She's like, okay.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah. The maze is back. And then, quote, he let them out, exclamation point. So that'd be when he opened those boxes up.
It was so dope.
And then the twins, comma, Danny's dead.
Play with us.
And then Danny's Jack. And then Danny's Dick. Full circle.
Danny's Dick?
He kind of becomes Dick. He becomes like his dick.
Oh, Danny is Dick, not Danny's Dick.
Danny's Dick? He pulled his dick out?
Yeah, didn't you see that? He pulled his dick out?
You didn't see Obi-Wan's dick in the movie?
And then he tells her to shine on. And it's kind of like the Stay Golden Pony Boy.
Shine on.
And then I just wrote, I've had enough of these spooky, naked ghost ladies in horror films in 2019. And that's my thoughts on this great film.
Yay! Good notes, good notes. I like your notes, Josh. Danny's Dick. Wow.
I was hoping that Tony would make an appearance.
Yeah.
I mean, at least he talked about it.
Yeah, because he talked about The Shine he thought it was this this imaginary boy who lived in.
So who was he talking to? I wonder. Who was he shining with?
I think it was just himself.
It was just him in his head. Yeah.
It was just how things were being represented in his head. So he was just kind of having that conversation with his thoughts. It's kind of interesting. Okay. All right. Well, let's. I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about, or do you guys want to do some final thoughts on the movie?
We can do final thoughts.
Let's do some final thoughts. Tim.
I went into this movie expecting to fucking hate it.
Okay.
Because of don't get me wrong, I trust Mike Flanagan. A big fan of all his work that he's done. He's already proven to tell the story that needs to be told.
Stop, Tim. Stop. You really broke up there.
You broke up.
All I heard from you was you trust Mike Flanagan.
All right. Well, let me just start it again.
All right, start again. Tim, final thoughts.
I went into this movie expecting to fucking hate it. Even though I trust Mike Flanagan, he's already proven that he's really good at doing adaptation work, specifically Stephen King adaptation work. Gerald's Game was any indication that at least this movie was in good hands. But again, it's trying to live up to a classic movie that really couldn't be replicated. They don't make movies like that anymore. So when it came to seeing this, like I said, I walked in not expecting much. Maybe some cool visuals and some throwbacks, but that was it. And I spent the whole movie like this. Like, I was so enthralled by everything that I was seeing and hearing and experiencing that, like, it was one of the better movies I've seen in 2019. And there's been some good ones. But like I said, I loved this adaptation of it. I can't base it off the book because I haven't read the book, but I feel like I read the book now. And I love that Mike Flanagan did justice to not only Kubrick's vision of the original movie, but Stephen King's original book on top of adapting Dr. Sleep. So really, he's adapting 3 fucking things at once. Like, this guy's a fucking champ. I loved it. I loved it. I know that, there's some very polarizing views out there right now on it. You either love it or hate it, but I'm in the love it camp. The visuals were great. The casting was great. All down the board, every single one was great. It was a great movie.
How would you rate it?
Rated fucking R.
For recommended?
For Recca fucking mended.
Rated R for Recca fucking mended.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Josh.
Is that the highest that we go? Is rated R?
X for excellent.
Well, you don't be busting that out just willy-nilly.
You don't just bust that out willy-nilly. It has to be pretty fucking special.
Yeah.
Similar. Me and Tim went to see it at the same show, and before we even sat down, we kind of looked at each other. I was like, man, I really hope this doesn't suck. Because
we had a moment.
We both expected it to kind of suck. And we were pleasantly surprised. Maybe that's why we liked it so much. But he did a very good job continuing on from Kubrick and then incorporating more Stephen King aspects into it. And a lot of the haters are saying it's too Stephen King. Well, yeah, it's a fucking story.
What does that mean?
Written by
Josh,
Stephen King.
Okay, so that poster that you got right behind you that we got for free, what's it say right over Dr. Sleep? Can you tell me what it says?
A Stephen King story, I'm going to guess. I mean,
just have a look. What's it say?
Stephen King's Dr. Sleep, the next chapter in The Shining.
So it's a Stephen King movie.
Right.
There's too much Stephen King in the Stephen King story.
It's too much like Dreamcatcher and too much like some of his more sci-fi stuff. But whatever. I thought it was really good. I would also rate it R for recommended.
Nice. So, I didn't go into the movie actually with any expectation, to tell you the truth.
I thought you were going to say, I didn't go with you guys. No, you didn't.
No, I didn't go with you guys.
You fucked up.
I was in fucking Vermont, thank you. But
yeah, they don't have theaters in Vermont.
No, they do, but I was flying that day anyway, but oh well. So, I actually didn't go in with any expectations at all. Like, not like, poor expectations, high expectations, anything. Because even though I seen the trailers, and the trailers did kind of show that, yeah, they were going to kind of go back to the Overlook, I didn't know the extent of things. And I remember hearing reviews about the original book for a long time saying, this is not The Shining. This is a different story in that universe, but Danny Torrance is a catalyst. He's the main character, and it's all different things. So I didn't actually know what to expect. And I got excited seeing the trailers, and I tried to tell myself, please don't get too excited, because it's not going to be The Shining. It's going to be something entirely different, and it's just going to touch on The Shining. And, like everything else, the shit speak out there was, they just showed us everything in the trailers that has to do with The Shining. You're not going to see anything else in the movie. You know what I mean? Like, people were really pushing on that. Like, they just released everything, and that's all you're going to get. But like Tim, I watched the movie with, it's hard to say. There was joy. The whole time that the movie was playing, it was just joyful to me. Yeah. I was enthralled by the characters. I was enthralled by the decisions that they made for how the visuals would look. I absolutely fucking lost my shit when the visuals changed to a very Kubrick style, and all of a sudden we had the flyover at night, the redo of the scene from the opening of The Shining itself, and I was like, we're going back. Now it feels like we're going back. having no real true knowledge as to the story of Dr. Sleep except for the general synopsis like Tim had given at the beginning. Like I said, I didn't know what to expect. And in the end, it turned out to be one of the best fucking movie experiences in the last couple of years for me. Like, without a doubt, 2019, this is up there. This is probably like my number 2 movie of the year.
Number 1.
I think It Chapter 2 still fucking sits at the top for me. But I mean, right off the bat, like, it's 2 Stephen King stories are fucking killing the year for me. Like,
true.
It's
It Chapter 2 is probably my third.
Well,
Really?
what was your favorite of the year then?
Joker.
Oh, well.
Joker's probably sitting at my third. Joker's sitting at my third. I love the Joker.
We're done here. We're done.
done here. But
Both-
it's like It
both-
Chapter
both.
2, Dr. Sleep, and the Joker. But it's not like there's a margin of difference. It's like
No.
they're so fucking close, it's ridiculous. And how good they are. This has been one hell of a year when it comes to proper good movies, in my opinion. And Dr. Sleep just continued that. It blew me out of the water.
Like, were you expecting so many, like, old school mentality
No.
films to be made this year? Like,
No.
I mean, It Chapter 2 is just a continuation of It Chapter 1. Like, it didn't recreate the wheel in any way, shape, or form. But, like, when you look at, like, the Joker and Dr. Sleep, like, for Dr. Sleep to actually take cues from a very old school, you know, filmmaker, like, Kubrick was a master of visuals, right? Like, just for them to recreate that in 2019 is still blowing my mind.
100%. 100%. I want to bring out the X, but I can't.
Okay.
I don't know.
Why can't you, Adam?
Because I'm torn. Because this
Torn
is,
on the torrents?
the movie's not 100% perfect. It is a very damn close movie to perfect, but it's not perfect. And that's a rare thing to bring out the X for me. But you know what? No, fuck it. I'm going to have to do it. This movie to me.
Don't
was
do it.
very-
Remember the great value Jack Torrance. Remember, Adam.
X for excellent. I'm doing it. This
All
movie
right.
is excellent. It's
Wow.
it's top notch. It was entertaining.
What a
It
fucking
kept you
shill.
enthralled. Oh, shut up.
Just breaking it out willy-nilly.
Just breaking it out willy-nilly. That's right. At least I didn't, mark, fucking All Hallows Eve 2 with an X or some shit. Whatever. All right. So we got 2 R's and an X. Shut up, Skip. We got 2 R's and an X. That's
That's
good
an R
haul.
plus.
That's an R plus. Shut up, Josh. There you go. You got to shut up tonight too. All right.
You
Gentlemen.
shut up, Adam. You don't talk to
Shut
Josh that way. Who the fuck he is? Josh fucking Lambert, bitch.
That's right. All right, guys. With that, we're going to conclude the night. So, thank you everybody for tuning in. Subscribe, listen, share, leave comments on the YouTube page. Check us out on Facebook as well. We're on every major podcast outlet that there is. Thanks for your support, everybody. And we'll continue to produce the shows if you're continuing to listen to them. Even if you're not continuing to listen to them, we're still probably going to produce the shows. But, like people who didn't listen to the All Hallows Eve episodes. Nobody wanted to fucking listen to those.
All 6 of them, bud. All 6 of them.
It hurts. It hurts.
It hurts. All right. Until next time, Josh.
Red rum. Red rum.
Tim.
Stay spooky.
All right, everybody. See you next time.
Good night.